Hello, friends. We are live, and I am so freaking excited today because I have a friend hopping on.
All the things. There she is.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? This is the
Good.
fastest I've ever joined before. I wasn't ready for this.
I know. It was like, it always is like so weird in the beginning because you're like starting it and you're like, okay, I got to hit the button, but then I'm supposed to talk at the same time. I don't know what's happening, but we figure it out.
Professionals already.
Love your face. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so excited for you.
Good. I know. Okay, so let's jump in. Let's give quick, like I say we hang out for like 15, 20 minutes or so, just give all the good stuff. So if someone is on right now and they're like on my side and they're like, who is Jess? Tell us quickly about like what you do and what your passion is.
Yeah, of course. So my biggest passion, so first I am a stress management health educator. So I'm master's in public health. I educate you about stress management. The passion part about it is I say stress management, but the real part is self-love, self-care. But I really feel like it starts with stress and it starts with your awareness. So how are we handling, how are we perceiving, how are we reacting to our stress in our everyday life?
Yeah, and I love it. Your name fits so perfectly. Stress less with Jess. I love it. I like think about it all the time. It's so catchy. So
Yes, good.
what made you like what brought this about where you're like, I want to help people with stress?
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually started my career in the drug and alcohol field. So, and it was a very common factor that everybody was dealing with stress, and that's kind of where they were and why they got where they were. They didn't know how to deal with breakups. They didn't know how to deal with job loss, house loss, right? They didn't know how to deal with these things that do happen every day, right? So, how do you deal with that divorce? How do you deal with these things, right? So, my mindset was I wanted to be in the prevention side of things. So, that's kind of where it took me. I was like, okay, this is a huge thing. This is a huge problem. What are we doing about it? Because we're not getting taught this in school. I don't remember having a stress
No.
class. So
Oh,
yeah, so it's kind of where, and then it's just kind of taken off since then.
I love that. So what do you find for like someone if they woke up this morning and they're like super stressed out, like all the things are overwhelming them. Like what would be your first tip of what they should do?
My go-to tip, and not many people like it, but it's my go-to tip is journaling. But I think it has such a bad rep because everyone's like, well, I don't want to write dear journal and I don't want to write, you know what I mean? When I say journal, I say brain dump that. Like if you could see my desk, you would see index cards galore because there are times where I'm just stressed and it's like there's just that what I call the hamster wheel. It's just going ba-dump, 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 you know, things like that. And so how are you getting that out from here onto paper? Because usually you're trying to predict a situation, or usually you're reliving a past situation going, oh, if I said this and this would have happened, right? Neither one you have control over. You can't change the past and you can't predict the future. Let me know. So doing that brain dump, a lot of what's going to happen when I'm just going, well, when he said this to me at dinner last night, it made me feel this way, right? So when you start to do that, what you're doing is creating that awareness. And when I step in, my part of my job would be to kind of go, okay, so what part of that made you upset, right? Because
Mm.
him saying no, or turning you down, or saying, oh, I don't want to help with the dishes or whatever. I'm just naming some random things,
Yeah.
whatever. He didn't pick up the dishes after he got done, right? Something so simple, quote unquote. Didn't ask if I wanted a cup of water when he got his cup of water. And I now carried it until the next morning. So I'm going, well, he just didn't think about me.
Right.
Right. So we should talk about that part. And like, so I say stress coach and things like that because it's what triggers the things, right? So brain dump is definitely the first thing I say to do.
Gotcha. So whatever, like, it doesn't have to be like a journal prompt or like anything, like a journal, like a specific journal where you write specific things every day. It's literally just whatever is on your mind. You're telling us just to like write it down.
That's it. Just because this thing, even we all have these moments where we're going, oh, that just sounds dumb, or this is so stupid to think, or why do I think this, or all these negative thoughts. Well, when you write them down, you get them out from here, right? Maybe I'm not calling my friend because I think it's too stupid to talk about, or I don't want to tell him because I know this sounds crazy, and I'm air quoting crazy,
Yeah.
so I don't want to tell him. So it's just like, if I just get it out and kind of see it and picture it going, okay, I know where this came from. I know why this, again, just creating that awareness. Just literally just no sentences, no commas. I don't care. Just get it out. Get it out.
We don't care about grammar. We don't care about spelling. Nothing. Just let it go.
Let it go. Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And you have a podcast. So what has been one of the biggest things that you have learned? So how long have you been doing this? Like you're having your own business?
So having my own business going on 2 years.
Cool. Awesome. And what has been one of the biggest learning experiences that you've had?
Oh, well, I mean, I think the biggest thing as an entrepreneur or a business owner in general, you learn so much about yourself. So practicing what I preach, I think is the biggest one. So finding my own ways of accountability, because, I hold other people accountable for their actions, right? So what I teach really isn't new per se, right? I'm not really going, oh, let's journal, and obviously other habits in general. They're not out of the science box. But it's more, a lot of it is that accountability piece. So learning that, yeah, I know that those tools in general, but I also need that accountability. So I would say accountability for sure is something that I've learned and practiced more and more.
Yeah, I think that's so important, because I think so many of us, when we get into running our own business, we get so wrapped up in other people, right? Like that's why we do what we do, right? Like we want to help people. We want to serve people. We have all the tips and the tricks and everything that we're like, let me help you. And we forget sometimes to help ourselves and to remember that we need the same thing that we give. And so one of my favorite quotes has always been, every coach needs a coach. So it's just, right, like the reminder that just because we know what we're doing, just because we've been doing it and we know how to help other people, we also have to remember that we need that support. We need that accountability and all the things, and to take care of us first also.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, it's the biggest thing we teach, right? In the sense of, you can't be the best mom if you're not taking care of yourself, the best wife, the best aunt, right? So for you to help others, you have to help yourself.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Such an important reminder. So what's your favorite thing to do? So you have so much going on, right? Like you're an incredible woman. You have so much great energy. You have all the things happening. You're helping so many people. What is your favorite thing to do to chill
turn
out?
it off?
Turn it off. Like what does Jess do when she turns it off?
I read. I love reading.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing to read?
So I do read a lot of self-help books, Brene Brown, obviously, right? I need quotes and things like that. But I'm a huge crime junkie, so
I love it.
So I do any kind of thriller, any type. I mean, I always go, when I show my book collection, I'm going, some of these names, man, like The Girl Behind the Window, it's like.
So okay, I have to ask, because I don't really read those, that genre. So is it kind of like Lifetime movies but in a book?
Yeah, but better. Because I feel like the Lifetime, for me, I don't like things that I can predict. I like that little twist, and that's kind of why I like it sometimes, because for me, it turns off my thinking for everything else, right? So, I mean, again, business owner hat, you're in the shower, you're going for a run, you're in the gym. You're always going, oh, this is a great idea. You know what I should do? You know what else I should do? Oh, you know what? I should call Karen back, because I remember she was upset. So for me to turn it off, I have to go, who the heck is behind the curtain? I need to know who's behind the window. Well, how'd she get there? So for me, it's different. So it literally turns it off.
I love that. It's so true. And so yours is more respectable. Mine is like the Lifetime movies, or I'll turn on reality TV. And I always tell people, that's how I just let go and just enjoy other people's drama, because I don't have any of my own. So I like to just sit and just not think about anything. I love that. So I do have to ask you a question though. Do you read, so it's probably a little bit different than the genre that you're into, but do you read Dan Brown, like Da Vinci Code style?
No, I have not read that. Okay. No. A little different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little different, but I think you might enjoy it. It's
all right, I'll put it on the list.
Cool. All right. So what else do we need to know about Jess? Tell us more about what's some of the big wins that your clients have experienced working through some of that stress that so many of us have.
The first thing when you said that was the first thing that came to my mind was, I can do this. So I think confidence. And I think we forget the power we do have. And it can be in a lot of ways. So a lot of my clients is communication, in the sense of not so much standing up for themselves, oh, I can't tell my husband something, even though that does happen. But it's more of communicating effectively. And so when they say, I can do this, because a lot of times, especially women, you know, we go down to this crazy town of, you know, I'm just thinking crazy, or I'm not validated, or everything in between. And it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole. And so I think for the biggest one, I would say is I can do this. So it's either a lot of the communication or just that new habit that they learned that's that, oh, shoot, I can do this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. So what, okay, so you said reading was your favorite, like, off time thing. What's your favorite food?
Oh, mac and cheese. All the way. Oh,
Ooh,
girl, mac and cheese.
You're speaking my language. All right, so where's your favorite place to get mac and cheese, or your favorite brand?
So I make my own.
Oh, now you're
because I love
cooking.
So that would be my second thing that I do when I'm not reading. But I still bring my crime podcast into the kitchen. little issue. But so I would say, yeah, so cooking. So I make my own, but yeah.
Man, you're so fancy. I've never made my own mac and cheese before.
Oh, girl, it's the best part is you get to eat the cheese as you're cooking. So it's like endless cheese, you know? See?
There you have it. So smart. So smart. I did make a mac and cheese one time because we get HelloFresh and they had a fancy mac and cheese option. So I ordered that and it was good. So I have made my own mac and cheese, just not actually my own. And it's so funny that you mentioned the crime podcast because my podcast co-host, I feel like every episode we talk about something. She always has to bring up some crime or the podcast about all these crimes. I'm like, homegirl, it sounds like, and then she's like, you know, I split them up into little pieces. I'm like, that is not the point of our podcast, okay? People are not here for that. But it's funny. I enjoy it because I mean I do enjoy a good thriller, and I always wanted to be a detective. Like I thought I'd be a good detective. Yes. So yeah. So goals. Maybe one day I'll be a detective.
Yes, I love it. You think? I know. It's you get into it for sure. There's all this. I'm like, it has to be. Yeah. It's a thinking cap, you know.
Yeah. So who is your favorite? Like someone that I know you mentioned, like Brene Brown or who, whatnot. Like, do you have someone that you're like you look up to a lot, or that following on social media that you're like obsessed with? Even if it's not someone like serious like Brene Brown. Britney Spears.
She's like my best friend. You didn't know? No.
No.
No, I would say, so it's funny. So as much as, again, I keep bringing this up, like, you know, we have to be on social media. I'm really not in the sense of like following people. So probably, but I do love Brene Brown. I do watch a lot of her specials. She had like a Netflix special. You know, I would say Mel Robbins for sure as well.
Yeah.
So again, just like I watch like their little like reels or something like that more so than actually like, you know, following. I do a lot of like their books and things like that. But yeah, I mean, they definitely are my biggest go-to people for sure. But I would also say just my people in my circle. I know it sounds a little cheesy, but
no,
that's the biggest part of why I am where I am is because of the people I surround myself with. So I definitely have a really strong support system, and I'm really, really lucky for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you say that you're not on social media. So how do you, like, what is for those that hop on or watch the replay, like when you're thinking about building your business, right? So someone who is starting their business and maybe they're in your field or maybe something similar, how do you build your business then without social media?
So like, obviously I'm on it. Obviously that's how we're connecting. So I am on it per se. In the sense of like all my people that I have, like my clients, they're all referrals. To be honest, every single one of them has been a referral. So I am, again, super lucky that again with that support system, I just have people speaking for me in the sense of like, you always say that one quote, surround yourself by people that speak your name in a room full of opportunities. Like I am fully blessed to have that.
Yeah.
So which is really great. Now I do, again, obviously I have followers, I am social media, things like that. But no, a lot of it has been me just reaching out to people like you going, hey, this is what I do. I love what you do. Do you want to like be friends? And then you meet somebody like, hey, this is really great for you. Or, you know, and it just kind of grows from there. So I think, just speaking up again. It sounds so cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I also have to call you out though, because you said I'm lucky that people give me referrals, and no, you're not. the reason why people are giving you referrals is because you're so freaking good at what you do. So it's not luck. It's all hard work, and it's all the effort and the energy and the passion that you put into it. And so I just got to call that out, because we actually just, our podcast episode came out yesterday, and we talked a lot about that, right? Like, under promise, over deliver, right? And really sticking to what you say you're going to do. Like, so many of us have bought programs or coaching or whatnot, and we're told that we're going to get all these things, and then you show up and you're like,
where are they?
Right? Where's that call that I was supposed to get? Where's that transformation I was promised? Where was this? Where's that? And like, and when you do that, you break so much trust. And those people are never going to go give you a referral. They're never, actually, they're going to do the exact opposite. They're going to, if someone says, hey, have you ever worked with so-and-so? I'm thinking about it. They're going to be like,
hell no.
I wouldn't do that. Right? So it just speaks volumes to what you've done, that you are building such a successful business based on referrals, because you have gotten so many people amazing results. And that's freaking incredible. That's hashtag goals. So yeah. And I'm so grateful for social media, because like you said, that's how we connected. And so, through a program that we both bought into and part of a Facebook group. And so if anyone is watching this and you're like, I want to start a business, I don't know where to start, how do you guys become friends? Like, I used to always think that. I would watch people that were entrepreneurs, like meeting and hanging out and doing lives and doing all this stuff with other people. And I'd be like, I want to do that. Where do you find these people? And you have to join the courses. You have to join the groups. You have to, like we did, right? Like, you have to reach out and say, hey, have you thought about doing this? Do you want to jump on this with me? Like, and just networking like that. And it's so much better. Like, I know there's that quote about comparison, right? And so, like, instead of comparing what you're doing to someone else, or, like thinking there's so much different or better or whatever, it's the collaboration is so powerful. And so that used to be something that I was like so concerned with, or like not invested in. And now I'm like, this is the best part of business, is connecting with amazing women that are just doing incredible things. So however that is, that you can support another business, even if they're in the same industry you are, like, we had to have an abundance mindset around that. So,
and I think that says so much too, whether you business or no business. I think, what it is not comparing ourselves to others, because it's so easy to do, especially with social media. I think it's one of the biggest things I try to post in my Facebook group, is that, I'll post like, oh, this was such a happy vacation, it was great. But it's like, there are things that happen behind the scenes. And I might be posting this happy-go-lucky picture, which is true. Like, I am happy. I'm not sitting here miserable and things like that. But it doesn't mean that a conversation didn't happen, or an incident didn't happen, or, those things didn't happen. And so it's like, there are always two sides. And yes, for the most part, we are happy, but life does happen even to everybody, life happens to everybody. And it's, I think, so being honest, I think that's the biggest thing. So I think there's two things you really said there. Is like being honest in the sense of comparison yourself, being honest, and more awareness of, I know where I am. I know where I came from. I know how hard I worked here. So, but also, congratulating other people that you see, that comparison, going, shoot, I know how hard I worked to get here. Imagine how hard Danielle worked to get there. That's so awesome. Look at that strength. I want to be around that strength. Right. So that's kind of like why we connected. I saw your website and I'm going, oh, I need this girl in my life. She's the one. She has a strength. She has this passion. Let's get her on my podcast. Well, she's on my podcast, guys, launching in the summer. But but you know what I mean? And like, that's, I think there's so many things in what you said, being honest, awareness, and just doing it. Doing what you want.
Yeah. And I, like you said, it's that reminder that if someone has done something that you want to do, instead of looking at them and being like, oh, like, that's not fair, I'll never get there, why does she get to do that, right? Like, reminding yourself that because that person was able to do that means that you can do it too. Like, they're no freaking different. That's the thing, that we all have these celebrities and like these famous people that we put on this pedestal where we're like, they're so amazing, they do all these things, and it's like, at the end of the day, they are a normal person. They were born the same way. They put their pants on the same way, right? Like, they're so freaking normal, and in their eyes, right? I'm assuming many of them, like, they're thinking the same thing. Like, why are you crying over seeing me? I'm a normal human. Like, there's nothing different about me, right? Like, and so it's just important to remember that. And like you said, I was just asked to speak to high school girls about they're seeing a lot of things come up about body image, especially through COVID, and because everyone was on social media. And so, and as much as one of the teachers, my friend, was telling me that as much as they know that people have filters on, right? Like they know that there's a filter, but they still have, like, they still struggle with the fact of not seeing themselves the way that they see people with filters on social media. And so it's just this big thing that we got to just keep reminding ourselves of, yes, we put our best foot forward on social media, but also in real life, right? Like so many of us, like we hate on social media because it's fake, because not necessarily fake, but that it's filtered, but also in real life, right? Like when I walk out to my house and my neighbor says, how you doing? I'm not like, oh my God, let me tell you about this like horrible thing that just happened like 5 minutes ago, right? We don't do that. We're like, oh, I'm great. How are you? Or I'm okay. How are you? And so it's also remembering that, you know, it's okay to put your best foot forward on social media, but it's also important, like you said, to remember that the pictures that you see, the cool vacations, you don't see, you know, the lost passports, the fights over dinner, the whatever could have happened through that process to get to that point. So stop, it's so easy to say, but stop comparing. But the comparison stops, I believe, when people work with like you, who, when you're dealing with that stress, right? Like, and you build, like you said, the confidence. And that's where, you know, me working with a lot of people, it all comes back to confidence. Because when you are confident in yourself and you don't have that stress in your life, like you help people with, like, then you're able to stand in your power and you know who you are. And like you said before, you know who you are, you know where you came from, you know what you're about, and you can stand in that. And when you can stand in that, that's when, you know, like everything else kind of, you do realize like it's a filter, they're not perfect, and I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on me and where I'm going and what I want to do. So
yeah, and you said so many things, and so I want to say two things first. So one thing you talked about was like the high school girls, you know, and how they're comparing others. Again, we all do it, right? Adults do it. Like first thing I saw when I saw you was like, oh, look at Danielle's skin, she's so pretty, blah blah. My leg wear, and I'm like, girl, focus, right? So I think, you know, one with that is that think about how you're talking to yourself, and I do this like practice with my clients is like, okay, everything you just said about yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, all this stuff. And I want you to, on top of that list, I want you to put dear sister, dear mom, dear aunt. And would you ever give that to somebody?
Right.
No, you would never. I would never get on here and Danielle would be like, ugh, Danielle, get your life together. Okay. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you have a podcast? You don't deserve that. Like, you wouldn't say that. You would never say that. So why do I get to go on my podcast and think that about myself? It's not true, right? That's the biggest thing. And then the second thing is I forget remember now. Is the priority. When we start realizing what's important in our life. So my closest friends, my family, my puppies who are snoring behind me. You know what I mean? Myself, right? When I start to realize what's important, I start to focus on that. Other things start to phase away. That unnecessary drama, the filter on social media, right? So that work on yourself, that self-care, that self-confidence, there's a light to it in the sense of other things are just going to be pushed to the side. They're not going to be important because they're not on the priority list, you know?
I love that. I love that because the priority list is so funny because like we do different things, right? Like your stress and help people work through all of that, which is so important. And I help people with health, body image, and yet
Also
we're talking. Yeah, right. Like, and we're talking, but we do the same things. It's all because I do the same thing. Priorities, right? What are your priorities? Because when you list out your priorities, like you said, you don't worry about the other things that are stressing you out. For me, what I realize is when women are focused on their priorities, and we're like, okay, so my top 3 priorities, right? It's, you know, building a successful business, it's having a happy family, it's being healthy and feeling good in my own skin, whatever it might be, right? But regardless of what their top 3 priorities are, it's never to have the perfect body. Yet so many of us are stressing every single day to have the perfect body, right? And like, it's not even in anyone's top 10. No. It's not a priority. And so we get to focus, like you said, on those priorities and let everything else kind of like fall away. So I love that. And I also got to say, I love your background. And when I popped on, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. And okay, let's be real, right? We're talking being real. I blurred it because I'm just standing in front of like 2 like of my like cabinets because I don't have anything up on my walls I moved in last, I don't even know, July, August. We have nothing up on our wall. So I'm like so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like I don't have my life together. So like, let me just stand in front of these white cabinets and just get real close, and then nobody knows. And so you back there have these cute things on your wall, and I'm like, oh, I need some of that stuff. Not a priority right now because I got focused on other stuff, but yeah.
And like, so, and I think you kind of just said something though. We do this a lot. We create this story or scenario in our head, right? And you just go, well, I don't want anybody going, oh my God, I have this kind of background, right? I have not once thought about your background. Not one time have I gone, I wonder what's behind Danielle's background. But for you, I did the same thing. I'm like, oh, I have a blanket on my chair. I'm going, well, you can't see the blanket. I have a closet over here. I'm going, well, they can't see the closet open because then they'll see that I have books. Like the thing that the way that we portray the scenario in our head is just, it's so mind-boggling. And I say going with that is, what story are you telling yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And again, this could play in so many ways. It could be something, again, so simple. I'm air quoting because you still got the same gut feeling going, oh my God, about your background. But we do this about the people in our life. Well, what did he mean when he just said, okay, see you soon? Well, he didn't say I love you every 10 seconds, so he must be mad. I mean, how many times have you got the text like, are you mad at me? No, I didn't even. Am I supposed to be? What happened? And you're on there going, did I do something? No, they have now created a scenario in their head that we weren't even part of. But we've all done that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they said it this way or this happened. Or, again, what we were talking about earlier, we were reliving the past. Oh, when he walked this way, it must meant this. And he goes, or he just felt his pants are falling down. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's that quote unquote, it's simple again, and it's just, the stories that we tell ourselves can be, I don't want to say crazy, but it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming how we talk to ourselves and stories we tell.
And they can either lift us up or tear us down, and we get to choose. And that's why and that's why it's so important, like the work that you do is that reminding people and helping them work through that to choose a new story to tell themselves. And I love how we just went here because we were talking about social media and being real and feeling like, I don't want to say we were preaching to people, but telling people like, oh, don't compare yourself. But we got real and said, okay, but we do this, right? Because I think we see so many people, and we think that if they teach about stress, then they don't have stress. If they teach about body confidence, then they don't hate any or dislike any parts of their body. Or if they teach fitness, and they never not work out, right? Like we think like the people that do all of these things, that they just have it all together. And in that area, they never mess up. And so I love that we just took it to that point to be like, we're sharing these tips and tricks, but we also have to do this for ourselves and remind ourselves of this, of how this looks in our life, and be real that every single human deals with these types of thoughts and feelings and everything. And we're all a work on progress. The only difference is that you and I spend majority of our time thinking through this and doing our best to shift our mind and shift the stories and do all the things. And then we get to pass that on of what we found works for we get to help other people do the same thing. So
it's so true. And I think you said it too. A lot of people go, well, I want to be like you and not have stress. I said, well, then you're not going to be with the right person, because that's not what I'm providing you. I'm going to be real with you, and I'm going to tell you that stress is literally every single day. But I just perceive things very differently. But it's not because I just woke up one day and was like, this is it. But I still have those moments. I still have a brain. I still have emotions. I still have hormones. You know what I mean? Like, I still have life. It didn't go anywhere. It's still there. But like you said, majority of time is maybe a little bit different, right? Or I spend more time, or I have my books that I'm reading, or I have my master's in this, so it's a little different. But it's not because like you said earlier, like that perfect body, that perfect image. It's not because we're perfect. We're just one or two steps up. That's it. Yep. You're right behind us. You know what I mean? You're on the escalator 2 steps down. It's not like you're, a mile away. You know what I mean? So
I love that. I love it.
And I think it just shows that it's achievable. So I think that's what's really hard too. And even with like the body image and working out, and whether it's stress, I think showing that it's actually achievable. It's not out of your reach. It just, it's the only thing is it's work every day, and that's where the heart is.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. All right, sister, let's wrap this up. So that was a great way to end it, but if you have any last words that you want to share, feel free. But I feel like that was just like, boom, good, but totally up to you. Do you have any last words for us?
No, I mean, besides that you're amazing and I'm so excited to be on here, not much, no.
I love you. I love this so much. And it was so fun being on your podcast. So I can't wait to hear the episode.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great, yeah.
Yeah, so if you
One
guys...
of us cried. Did we both cry? One of us cried.
Oh, gosh. I don't remember. There's a good chance it was me. But yeah, so if you're on or watching the recording, go hang out with Jess. Jess is Stress Less with Jess podcast, and then we're
Journey to Yourself 101 is my Instagram.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, you're fabulous. I love you so much. I'm so grateful that social media did bring us together and we had this conversation, because this was so powerful for me as well. And so I know I get to get better at journaling and thinking through some of the things that, stress me out. And so thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, Ben.